Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was thinking about something, and in any case, about the Lockheed Martin symbolic representation with the two arrows, the four lines, and the three points of intersecting axes, um, and the telepathic blueprint. Okay, based upon just one shelf, a small shelf, and on the exact opposite side of the wall, using just a point of view at a 180, starting out with like some absolute values, two vertical lines of a shelf on the wall on A row, yeah, all right, yeah, County Road 45, Angleton, Texas, okay, and that has a symmetrical, asymmetrical design on the grander tenure. I don't know if it has to be grandiose anxiety. Um, with all the amenities and all the refreshment, But anyway, there's like the telepathic blueprint on the wall with like 5 eccentric triangles, okay. And it originates in my mind as that shelf on the wall, and everything became in alignment, okay. And real quick, just to get to the fifth dimension song, "Up in the Air in a Beautiful Balloon," and the 5 eccentric triangles being like a dimensional issue, and Lockheed Martin and the two arrows, okay, and the four lines and the 3 points of the intersecting axes, okay. And description, reading that, knowing that about like identifying axes that way, intersecting axes, and what had ultimately led to like an alignment using like a legal pad and the edge, and not limited to a 5 eccentric triangle. And my thought automatically, the fifth dimension, up in there in a beautiful balloon. But anyway, like reading that, okay, because like once again, there's like 3 lines with 1 point, and then there's like 2 separate points with like 2 separate lines, yet 1 line is in between them, and it's like a 2, 3, and 2 set. It's almost like a Lockheed Martin Green Acres Atonement with the 232. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, reading it's almost like I was kind of like thinking about like you've probably seen the little jewelry boxes that you little crank on it. It's got little bumps on it, and it's got like what looks like a little harpsichord on it, except it's like metal, and like it makes that sound of like a jewelry box, yeah. Well, anyway, I was thinking of those points and axes that way, in a chronological, and it seemed to be the green acre thing, da 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 da, the 232 thing. Yeah, there's been like a thing going on YouTube, okay, and it's kind of like it's like the exact opposite of 232 is like a 323, the latest area code of like Los Angeles, okay, and I refer to the alphanumerics of like Los Angeles. Los Angeles being 109, and hopefully, governor, and like 109 to 110, governor is president, alphanumerics 247, but in any case, okay, like Los Angeles area code is like 213, applied to, 213, the area code of Los Angeles being 213, and the thing with this is that, 213 is like 110, equals to 323, the latest area code of Los Angeles, okay, which is the exact opposite of like what I'm referring to what seems to be, I mean, if there's an atonement, because I had to refer to like close encounters of the third kind, and the thing about them being up on the plateau, communicating with like UFOs and aliens from outer space, and before pasty color sound 900 symbols were involved, communicating as a projected estimate, option, and future, and and now the time is now. Yeah, so like indicate so like and like Michael Jackson. I've been talking about Michael Jackson about Trump referring to "Make America Great Again," and it ultimately led to like 1972, and all that information that ultimately seems to be the alphabetics of 72 and money and COVID ID 19 and well anyway, so like Michael Jackson is like on a sidewalk in the video, like Billie Jean, and it's like doing his thing with his toes, and it's like an atonement. Somewhere in my mind, it's like the third, Close Encounters of the Third Kind being like an atonement, and somewhere in my mind, about that Lockheed Martin, 2-arrow, 4-line, and 3 axis, and something about that being on the wall at County Road 45. Angleton, Texas, referred to as ARO, that it has a symmetrical, asymmetrical design of, the Under Armour, thing about it. Okay, well, anyway, so like all that was going on, and I'd refer to that as like involving like Dr. Pepper, and the 23 the 23 of GMC's Racing Bar, GMC being 23-year CEO, corporate executive officer, and think about the 23-year anniversary celebration of Dr. Pepper, and the 23 ingredients, and it had got to a combine of like referring to two music videos of what was in the Jacksons, Blame It on the Bookie, and Michael Jackson and the Off the Wall, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and referencing in my mind the way I see even reference of a Wilson Phillips song over and over, referring to specific lyrics referring to that clearer than water, my love can't be stronger, and no one's better for me. I mean, I'm like looking at all this information, and it seemed to be, like almost like it's clearer than water, my love can't be stronger. I mean, it's almost like, exactly the balls in that video of the Michael Jackson Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, because he's got the transparency. One is actually, it looks like glass, okay, like a glass bubble, and the other one looks like a glass ball, transparent in its thing about it. But in outer space, okay, water in weightlessness, it's like the planet, every planet in the solar system, it's like round, okay? I mean, even poured out of or squeezed out of like a little bottle, and it floating in outer space in weightlessness, it will ultimately, have the right to assemble, okay, and look like a ball, okay? And the thing is about Michael Jackson's video, and automatically when I hear that song of Wilson Phillips over and over, and you'll see me like do that on my video, yay, WadeASVPriddy, P-R-I-D-D-Y, at youtube.com on my drums. One that I do like Michael Jackson, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough as well. Several songs of the Jacksons, and anyway, so like I was like thinking at that, and it's kind of like clicked, because I was just like watching it, because really Michael Jackson in his earlier years is more so a lot that I spend attention on, because that was like really in my younger years, and the thing with this is that like really those are the songs that like kind of really caught my attention, and actually the things that I've used on youtube.com. At the time I was doing like the Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, I was actually having an issue with like a percussion special effects rack that actually held my cowbell and my special effects bell and some other stuff, and it's kind of like I had to like not use it like I would maybe normally do, because like when I do Michael Jackson, I use quite a bit of the cowbell, but because of certain issues at the time, it's kind of like I had to get like a new mounting rack for like my special effects customs involving the cowbell and the special effects bell, So like in any case, yeah. So like anyway, I was doing that, okay. So like there is the thing about it, and I just want to mention that because of the area code and the thing about ARO, Angleton, Texas. The combine of state, federal, local authorities. Yeah. This system has been developed. Yeah. So like anyway, so like in that way, it's kind of like on ARO, okay. It seemed to be, like the Lockheed Martin thing in relation to the atonement. Once again, the 2, the 3, and the 2, really because of the combine of Lockheed Martin's intersect, and ultimately because of a shelf on the exact opposite of wall 180 led to 5 eccentric triangles. But I just want to include that real quick. I'm going to keep it a little bit on the shorter side, but I want to include that real quick because I'm fixing to do another one and finish watching what I was watching before I actually started this. But I want to include that real quick because of what seemed to be like the Lockheed Martin Atonement and the Fifth Dimension song up in there in the beautiful balloon and Orion performance and the AOL thing about Orion becoming Arian and Aryan and all the alphanumerics 213 and the difference of making a grade beyond like a local area network of internet protocol of maritime law and the J. Edgar Hoover amphibious thing about like the American Idol that way. So I mean automatically it's all this like going on in the wall. It seemed to be like it just leads with like comprehension and such analytical and symbolic. It's like I mean really not the question of an answer. I mean and really really I mean it seemed to be like explaining something about making a grade beyond maritime law of internet protocol, and it seemed to be just looking at like a blank wall with like beige paint just because of itself on the wall, and having a legal pad and just deciding that I wouldn't want to just sit there and like do nothing, and ultimately the television series Leave Without a Trace, and like tracing virtually the entire wall, with a bunch of legal paper like overlapped it, and using like a bunch of adhesives off of like antiperspirants and anything that had like sticker like type of adhesive that could be used. But so like I did that I traced my own work and I left without a trace. I don't know if that's like a deed restriction television program. It's like I traced it. Okay, was I supposed to leave Earth without a trace, or trace it and stay, or stay and leave, or come back? And so like anyway, so like I traced it first. Okay. I mean, they should be trace, then leave without a trace. Yeah, that's really what the television series is. Trace it, then leave without a trace. That's really what the television series. Yeah, that's where it's at. Yeah. So like anyway, it seemed to be like that for real. But anyway, I wanted to include that because it seemed to be that thing about the atonement. It's really because of reading it as a pronunciation. Like with alphanumeric linguistic alphanumerics, beyond the accuracy of alphanumerics itself, the pronunciation is like you've heard of the power and the principality. The pronunciation seems to be more so on the principality side, explaining the pronunciation and the analytical and the symbolic thing about it. Okay, so like anyway, I want to include that. It's already gone like 13 minutes and like 13 seconds. So it seemed to be a thing about the Lockheed Martin Atonement and the Fifth Dimension 5 eccentric triangles. The 3 lines with one intersect, and the 2 lines with an intersect, and in between them the 1 line of the 2 intersects. It's like the 232, and the exact opposite being the 323 of like Los Angeles area code. Yet the thing about the Los Angeles being 109, yet the area code 213, and ultimately, getting the analytical of like a governor as a president, 109 is 110, is 247, and ultimately, once again, getting all the way to like Robert E. Rubin, the United States Secretary of Treasury, and following him and knowing, and combine what seemed to be, the book of many books that I'd read, it seemed that the secrets of the temple hypothesis that runs the country. It's just like, it just seems to be, so it more and more unreal. For real. So like there's like other books that seem to be like involving, explaining and expressing the huge triangle between like the Persian Gulf and the Mediterranean and like I-10 in the United States, and the thing about the eccentric triangle and Apple iPhone SE, and between the thought of like the ERISA statute and the IRA. And the SE between the remainder of like the acronym ERISA, ERISA, and the IRA, and SE being like the thing about, in my mind, automatically like now, the thought of like Apple iPhone SE, and all that information between color code. It's almost like a black and white thing, in a way. Yet the color code of the Air Force One jet of the President of the United States, and what seems to be, you know, AT&T and color code that way. But anyway, yeah, so like I'm going to go ahead and stop right there, because I just wanted to include that about the atonement in the Green Acre. Da, 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 da. And when I saw those, you know, the count, you know, and that's 2 points. That's 3 lines with 1 point. Yet it's like 232. And it's like automatically, you know, I've been doing it. There's a new development. It's kind of like the Green Acre thing. It's like, you know, a grand opening, and there's a new development. I was like, oh my God, there's a new development. Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. So like, you know, so like anyway, so like it seemed to be like something a little bit beyond, you know, the blue ribbon thing. It seemed to be like beyond maritime law of a grand opening being like the blue ribbon. What is identified like a lot of times with other like new grand openings, that's not the blue ribbon. Yet, you know, some places use different color ribbons for the idea of a grand opening or a new beginning of a fiscal annual as compared to a calendar year. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm actually noticing that and realizing that a lot of grand openings didn't always, you know, thought of a ribbon that's designated as, you know, some idea of, I mean, networking, I mean, for real, or venue as compared to neighborhood, or maybe identifying exactly what type of building or venue it is itself, you know, or maybe its origination as a source of funding. Yeah, so like anyway, so like you know, that's something I think about now. Anyway, so like I wanted to include that real quick, and there it is. I'm gonna take a break. All right, yeah.